Learn how to hide the WordPress version number on the front end of your site with WPCodeBox. If your WordPress site is showing its version number in the page source or file URLs, you're basically advertising what can be exploited. Let's fix this in less than 5 minutes. My name is Kevin. Let's get coding. First, we're going to remove this meta tag. Let's go to WPCodeBox, and we're going to create a new snippet called disable WP version, and we're going to save this snippet. Now, within our snippet, we're going to use add filter. And what add filter does is when WordPress is about to output or use something, it checks for filters. Add filter lets us jump in and change that value. Next, we're going to declare the function that add filter is going to be filtering. And in this case, it's going to be the generator. And the generator is a WordPress filter that controls what shows up in the meta name generator tag in your site's HTML, or what we see right here. So with our filter set, we're now going to return a callback. And in this case, we're going to use the WordPress function return empty string. And return empty string does exactly that. It returns an empty string. So let's save this. So now that we've saved it, let's enable it. And let's go back to our front end. And remember, we're looking to see this meta tag gone. So let's refresh that. Let's open up the head and we're going to scroll down. And as we can see, there is no longer that meta tag there. Great. We've gotten rid of the WordPress version there. But we also can see the WordPress version still on some of our styles and scripts. For example, right here, we can see version 6.8, version 6.8, and there as well. And there's probably a few other spots. So we're going to go back to WPCodeBox. And this time we're going to stay within the same snippet because we're doing the same thing here. We're disabling the WordPress version. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a new function. So this time we're going to say function, remove version from assets, and we're going to add a parameter to it called source. And what the source parameter is it's the full URL of the file WordPress is about to load, and we're going to pass this to our function. Next, we are going to create a new variable called WP version. And for this variable, we are going to assign it get blog info, and we're going to pass the version. Get blog info is a hook that retrieves current information about the WordPress site. In this case, we're going to tell it to just get the version, and then we're going to store this in a variable. One of the main reasons we're getting the version number is because we only want to remove the versions from core WordPress scripts. And this is because plugins and themes sometimes rely on version numbers and their URLs for cache busting and compatibility checking, and we don't want to interfere with that. So we're going to write an if statement. So we'll start it out with if, open it up with some parentheses, and then we're going to use strpos or string position. What string position does is we feed it a string. In this case, we're going to feed it the source URL. And then we're going to look for ver equals, and we'll use a period here to combine the ver equals with our WP version variable that contains the WordPress version. And what this is going to do is this is going to return a number. So if this string is present inside of our URL, it returns a number where that string starts. We want to check whether or not this string has a number. So now let's write a comparison. And for this, we're going to type exclamation equals equals false. So this comparison is looking for the value to be not false. So in this case, we're looking to see if the URL from the source contains the WordPress version. And if it is false, then we don't need to do anything else. If it is not false, meaning it's true, we need to now go into our if statement. So now we're going to update the source. And to do that, we're going to use the remove query arg WordPress function. And what that function does is that's going to remove whatever argument we pass to it from our URL parameter. So in this case, we are going to pass version and source. So we're going to remove version from the source. So now let's go ahead and save it. And the last thing we want to do is we're going to return the source because we want to send the full URL back to WordPress, regardless of whether or not we changed it within our if statement. Now that we have our function, let's add it to WordPress. So we are going to use add filter again. And this time we're going to hook into the filter style loader source. And what style loader source is, it loads all the styles for WordPress. And now we're going to pass our function to that, and we're going to say remove version from assets, and we're going to set a priority. Now, you can set priorities for add filters and add actions, and what this does is this changes when this filter runs. Because we want this filter to change all the URLs, we want it to run last. So now that we have our style, we're going to do another add filter, and this time we're going to use the script loader source, and then we're going to use the same function for that, and the same priority. Because we're doing the same thing for both of these filters, we can use the same function instead of having to create two new functions. Let's save our snippet, and it's already enabled, so we don't need to do that again. And now let's reload our page, and we can see that the version number is gone on the scripts that we want it to be gone on. And let's go down here. We can see that the version number is still running on the scripts that we didn't want to mess with. We don't want to remove version numbers from plugins or theme scripts because they often rely on those for cache busting and compatibility checks. Stripping them out can cause updates to be ignored or break key functionality across your site. So there you go. Your site just got a little more private and a lot more secure.